at the home of the Mavericks, a fortress of basketball known as the American Airlines Center, here in Dallas, Texas. Happy to be with you for our broadcast of 2K Sports and the NBA. And the Houston starting five. We've got Drexler. And for Dallas, they've got Derek Harper. He's out there with Finley and Green. One thing you always take a look at is trends from year to year, Clark. And for the Mavericks, they won 28 at home last season. Now, that number was down from their 09 total when they won an incredible 32 games.
But they won more games overall, Kevin, which shows you that this is a team that has no problem taking care of business on the road.
Let's find out what Doris Burke has for us.
Rick Allen gave me just a few minutes with him. This team's offensive forte is really just being smart with the ball and limiting their mistakes. And because of that, Coach told me that they don't need to force things at the opponent's end of the floor. They just need to wait for opportunities to present themselves and then take advantage of it when they do, Kevin.
Doris, thank you. Clark, is there anything that can really be done about shooting once the game begins?
I don't think so. Shooting is about confidence and form and technique and mechanics, but shot selection is something coaches will harp on.
Now, playing here, Clark, at the American Airlines Center, you often have to play in front, and he slams it home. Here's the replay on the Spike Slam Cam.
Good execution on the break leads to the nice bucket.
So it's Houston now. 1:05 left in the first quarter. It's tipped. Drexler outside. And there's the dunk.
He has almost supernatural bouncing ability. He can bounce right out of the building.
Only a handful of players have that kind of athleticism, Clark. Here's Harper, following the score by Houston. Outside, Green. Jams it in.
Speed is only part of the equation here. He's not grinding quick, but he was determined to take that one to the rim.
Here's Elijah. Sinks it from about 9 feet out.
This is what happens when the defense lags. Wrong guy to give an opening to.
And here is Harper. Green up on top. Now Finley. Yes! Oh! Rips in the ferocious champ.
Took advantage of a little bit of lax defense right there.
Now, those chances are usually not going to go by the wayside. Here's Barkley. What a buzzer beater.
That's simply a big-time shot right there, Kevin. To have that amount of concentration with the clock winding down is something special. A lot of players don't have that.
And a lot of offense on display in this first quarter. Rockets ahead, up 2.
Kevin, their offense has been flowing right from the get-go.
Closely contested game here at the start of the second quarter. And Dallas has possession, trailing by 2. And Clark, the Rockets held their own last season in that very difficult Southwest Division.
Yeah, exactly. The Southwest was the second toughest division in the league, Kevin, last year, and the Rockets still managed to have a 9-7 record against that division.
And so in the game for the Rockets, we've got Drexler. Number 12 takes it up, stayed with it, and tipped it in.
Relentless on the glass is what he is, and that tip-in was the result of all the hard work he puts in down low.
The 3 can hit, and the Rockets go the other way. 1:13 left in the second. Clark talking about the Rockets. They're at the forefront using quantitative analysis and advanced formulas to try to enhance. And finished off by Drexler.
That dunk made a statement right there.
Well, putting on a show, Clark. Such an impressive move. Here's Finley. Number 5. Kept alive. Here's Bradley. Nope. And here's Houston. They hadn't allowed any points in the second quarter. Clyde Drexler on the wing. He dumps it off. On the high post. Again, the Rockets score.
Kevin, they're fighting extremely hard right here. Bit by bit, just trying to pull away.
If they go with a quick shot here, that would leave them with the final possession.
The lob was a little misjudged, and he couldn't get control of it.
The alley-oop. From deep. Again, the miss by the Mavericks. Here's Barkley. And that's off as he tries to beat the buzzer. And the first half is now in the books. Rockets lead by 8.
And it's a great basketball game going on in Dallas. Now time for HP at the half. The Houston Rockets in front against Dallas. Phenomenal communication and teamwork defensively. They've been like a brick wall. Clyde Drexler playing with confidence. Lighten up that scoreboard. He's making it ring like a pinball machine. And on the other side, Dallas just keeps on scrapping. It's been a hard-fought game, but they've risen to the challenge, really showing what they're made of. That's it for us now. Hope you enjoy the second half action coming up.
Now the second half about to begin in just a moment. Here's Harper, still looking to get on the scoreboard. You hate to say it so often, but it is what it is. Another early exit in the playoffs last year for these Mavericks. They spent so much money. Another disappointment for them.
You know what? It just shows you how difficult it is to have postseason success, Kevin. It's really hard. Teams like the Lakers and Celtics have made it look easy in the past. It's a difficult thing to do. I mean, heck, that's those teams are good, the Mavericks, but they run into teams that typically are able to have their number. They look great on paper, have a great regular season, but then in the postseason, the matchups get the best of them.
We got Willie Green. Finley is out there with Derek Harper and Bradley. That's the lineup out there for the Mavericks. 2 on the clock. Here's Barkley. He's off from 3.
You know, he can make a few from out there, but the defense seemed unconcerned by him pulling up. They were giving him all sorts of room.
Here's Bradley. The shot misses. And the Rockets going the other way now. You know, you were talking about Dallas in the postseason. How do you lose the label of being soft in the playoffs? I mean, what can they do, Clark? You mentioned the word matchups. That's what the playoffs are, matchups. But when you're labeled soft, that's a team label.
Yeah. And sometimes I think that can be unfair.
Yeah.
I think the Mavericks have been more of a finesse team, but in recent years they have shown some physicality as well. And sometimes your physicality just doesn't match up to your opponents. That doesn't mean you're soft. That just means you may not have as much of the team you're facing. Kevin, that's force of will right there. Even with the foul, he still got it to fall. Spectacular play.
The Mavericks making a switch here. Nice job at the line, and that one falls to pick up the and 1. So it's Houston now, leading by 5. Drexler left side. Number 17, off the mark with the 3 ball. Mavericks trailed by 5.
This is clearly the time when you want to take the last shot.
From the wing, Harper, no good. Here's Drexler. Some great basketball so far as we end the third quarter. And we'll get going after this from the American Airlines. So as we get going here in fourth, let's go to our sideline reporter, Doris Burke, for the Spark Report. Doris?
Hi, Kevin. The spark in this game, the big push by the Rockets. They jumped out early with a big run in the first period, and they've protected that lead since, guys.
Great, Doris. That big scoring run being a difference maker, Clark, in this game.
Well, it often comes in spurts, Kevin. Spurtability is what I call it, and that's what happened today.
So it's Houston now. It's a 5-point game. Fourth quarter on the court for the Rockets. Number 12, deflected. Mavericks trailed by 5. Number 5. And closing the shot, even with the foul. Now the 2 free throws. It's going to go on Clyde Drexler.
Tough interior defense means not allowing easy baskets. Good foul.
Sinks the second, and that narrows the gap to 4.
He couldn't get them all, and it's still a 2-possession game.
And here are the Rockets now. They lead by 4. They've got to push it. Houston needs to get a shot off. 1 on the clock. No good. Now the Mavericks take it the other way. Number 5. Number 17. Snatches it inside. Rockets leading by 4. Deflects the pass. Let's go with a 3. Kept alive. And there's the intentional foul. And making a change here, the Mavericks. Mavericks on D. Here in the fourth quarter, the defense has been very strong, allowing no baskets. Here's a light. Oh!
There's always the chance for something special to happen when he's headed to the basket.
Well, you can anticipate it, but as a defender, you can't necessarily stop it. This is a crucial possession for him. A lot at stake here. Outside Harper. He dishes it. Here's Finley. And a foul call. Almost got it to go in, but he'll go to the line for 2. Sinks the first one, and that brings them within 5. And that one goes in. 2 from the line that time. So it's Houston now. 4-point game. And so they'll try to extend the game with the intentional foul here.
They needed to take that foul to stop the clock. That clock is not their friend at this stage in the game.
Off on the second. Dallas with the ball. Trailing by 5. Harper, no good.
You know, he can't sink it from out there. It didn't happen that time, but at least it's in the back of the defense's mind that he will let it fly from there.
Off target on the first. Does make the second, and that increases their lead to 6.
Talk about a clutch free throw, Kev. That one just might have sealed the game.
And the Mavericks call time here. They're losing by 6. 9 seconds left in the fourth. Clark, what's your take?
You have to be impressed by their tenacity. Still fighting, but the odds are definitely not in their favor. They need to hit a quick shot here, preferably a free, and then foul.
A moment to check in with Doris. Doris?
Over the last break, Kevin, I got a chance to hear what head coach for the Dallas Mavericks said to the team. He told them, keep pushing hard to the end. Just finish out these last 2 minutes, and we'll be able to come away with the W. Kevin?
So we see the Rockets get the win here. They came, they saw, they conquered.
Hey, Kevin, to me, any win is a good win.
Thanks for joining us for this presentation of NBA basketball on 2K Sports. For Doris Burke and the whole crew, and Clark Kellogg, this is Kevin Harlan saying see you next time. But first, let's check out the Jordan Brand Player of the Game.